When I retired as a player, I have really committed with my education and my formation. So I start studies for coaching license for sure, sporting direction also, and MBA in sport management at the Real Madrid University, where I met Sergio as a professor.
Yeah, and imagine the first day of the class, and I met a Champions League winner as a student in my left side, but after 16 lessons, I didn't give him any advantage as a student.
I'm Chef Marcus from Rubato in Singapore, and I run a company of about 50 F&B professionals. So we've got chefs and we've got different levels of management in our Italian restaurant group.
Okay, so I'm Sarah, I'm a management consultant, and I work with leaders and their teams in order to create winning teams that can lead their organizations to achieve business outcomes. In the course of our work, we often use sports metaphors because they are great analogies for teams, and everybody understands and plays sports. So it's a way that we can share principles that everyone can understand and get around.
Hi, my name is Chow Ing. This course has given me quite a bit of insights and re-emphasized the importance of teamwork and a lot of the organization norms and behavior within a team that sometimes we take for granted in the midst of our daily routine, and also find a lot of useful tips from the trainers on how sports, the qualities within a sports team can be brought into the corporate world. And I think that is definitely something that I look forward to bringing back to my team and organize and realign some priorities and how to get everyone to move towards the same direction to success.
So the team of 25 members, you have 11 happy, 14 unhappy. And as a leader, you have to manage this team to try to keep everyone in the same line.
We have another love and passion, which is education, to put in common our experience, to research, to use sport as something much more and a vehicle for a better education.
And that's how Sported project was born, with this mix. And nowadays we are really happy running our programs here in Singapore.
I know nothing about football, so I thought it would be a great opportunity to not only learn about football, but to find out what principles and techniques I could take and learn and apply to my business context.
Hi, my name is Scarlett. So I work with startups and I help advise startups on their culture and building their teams and processes.
For us, it's very important, and this is one of the takeaways that we would like to share with you today, is when we choose our teammates to make the road, okay, we have to select by character, okay?
I think I'm looking to learn about managing people. So in terms of working with startups, there are usually very dynamic people, and I work with the investors as well. So it is good for me to understand how to work with upwards with the management and investors, as well as how to bring a team together to look for a cause. Since that for startup is usually a very volatile industry, and working with people and uncertainty is one of the key things about which is similar to sports. I think one very interesting part is choosing the right people for the team, and how to and based on which characteristics to choose them for. And more importantly is when the team is so big, it is not just about the star players, and how do we actually encourage the other players who might feel insignificant, that they are actually very much part of the team, and every piece of it is significant as well to make a successful team.
At any one time in the day, there's always something to attend to.
But of course, I've heard of the Real Madrid team. They are one of the top teams in the world. They're very famous. All my friends know about them. So it was a great opportunity to actually meet someone from this world famous team.
So for example, on any given day, some of the chefs under fire would be frazzled, and their nerves will have taken a beating. Very similar to halftime, I would assume, on the soccer pitch, where you would have to change your strategies ad hoc.
I was excited to meet Victor as a member of the Real Madrid team, So to actually hear from his experience as a player, what it was like to perform in such a high-stress, high-performance team, as well as his experience after that as a coach, to see what of his experiences as a player he could translate into coaching and helping other teams learn and improve.
To try to force Football Club Barcelona to play in a different way that they are used to. That was our competitive advantage for that game. Well, it's a program where we share our experience and knowledge in the sport industry. We have the 360 degrees experience from the point of view of athletes, coaches, and also management. Because sports is used to deal with high pressure and volatile environments, and there are good methodologies that we can share with any other industries, and that's why we build Designing the Winning Locker Room.
In the case of sport, Victor is in the real fire at this moment as a coach, but also he has the business skills. So in my case, it's the opposite. I am in the business arena, but I also have the sensitivity for sport. So it's the perfect combination to understand both angles, the human management from the professional point of view in the sport arena, and how we transfer this into business management.
There were a lot of takeaways of the course. The first thing was that when Victor was sharing his experiences as a head coach, so much of that is translatable to a leader in the business context. Just as sports is a game, business, the game of business, the game of life, all the principles are still applicable. I was very taken by the amount of rigor that was put into the preparation for the game, both before the game as well as after the game.
If we want to create a teamwork, okay, we need always to push this we concept versus the individual concept. Of course, we need the performance of every individual, we need to improve them, but there is a moment that we have to upgrade it into a we concept.
In Spain, we have the experience of sport with an industry that is leading it in the last 20 years, but in Singapore, we have the mix of top education and high performance in business. So with this combination, we consider that this is the perfect platform to develop a high performance and a top course like the Designing of the Winning Locker Room.
Truly, I was introduced by a good friend of ours, Lai Cheng, but I heard about Victor Sanchez being on who was going to be on board the faculty, and I was really excited because little introduction needs to be made for the legend, and I was really excited to be in the company of such a giant. So his name and the fact that I knew that SMU Academy was doing good work with adult progressive education meant that I wanted to sign up for the course.
What I was taken with, they also spend quite a lot of time talking about mistakes, which I found very different. In Singapore, I think in business, oftentimes we talk about successes, but not really mistakes. And it's very important for them to acknowledge mistakes and learn from them. Something he said, don't make your team members feel guilty or fear mistakes. If you don't make mistakes, you're never going to try. And if you're never going to try, you'll never succeed. So they really emphasize how mistakes are a chance to learn, and it's just a normal part of the learning process. I also enjoyed how Victor shared his own experience from today towards his goal. It's not a linear path, there's ups and downs. And he shared his own experience on the ups, how to deal with them, as well as on the downs, how to recover from them, and always to focus on his goal. I found that very inspiring. He applied that in his own experience as a player, but also in coaching his team, which were, I guess, in the second league, how to coach them to really get into the Premier League. And that was very inspiring, and so much of that lesson and that mindset I can take to my work with leaders and teams.
We see that there could be a huge potential in Asia, especially in Singapore, from the corporate, for the individual, the link with the universities, but also coming back to Spain and to Europe, because mixing both cultures is going to enhance the content of the program.